patterns, recipes, anything?
Well, if it doesn't have to pertain to the class, what if it's just kind of a question about you?
Go ahead.
When last week you did this kind of squeaking noise, do you have a whistle register?
A whistle? What's a whistle register?
Oh, I figured you might have sang. It's a vocal thing.
No. You don't want to hear me sing.
It's really rare.
I made a whistling noise though?
Yeah, I like that.
Doesn't surprise me. Oh, that. Yeah, that's usually just my larynx detaching and then reattaching. Yeah. I wish I could control it, because I could probably make money doing that. Like,
Yeah, you
on a
probably
street corner.
could.
Yeah.
You're in a band, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm sure you'd be really good at singing, actually, if you
No.
tried.
I have many strange voices. You'll hear many of them as the term goes on. Robin Williams, rest in peace, is one of my comic heroes, and picked up a lot from him. Not so much the larynx detaching. Please.
So on these quizzes,
Yes, go.
if you want us to show our work,
Yes.
can we upload a doc?
That you've written onto?
Can we upload a Word document with the answers and then just scan like our work?
You could just, there's again. You could just write on a document and make a PDF of that. Like if you want to just work out the documents, like if you take a piece of scrap paper, number it, 1, work out your problem, put the answer, 2, work out your problem, put the answer, and then just scan that and save it as a PDF, that will upload properly in Blackboard. That's totally fine. Yeah, you can type. I never want to say don't type, because typing is a wonderful way of, I think I've noticed that as we went from written to online student evaluations, for example, I get a lot more comments now. And I think it's because we're more comfortable typing than writing anymore. So I don't want to tell you not to type your submissions for the work. But if you have to show work and you don't feel like dealing with all those like latex and all those equation editor kinds of things, if you don't want to deal with that, you can just write out your work, scan that document in, and it opens just fine. The thing is, if I can't open it in Blackboard, I can't make comments on the document itself. And that's where I'm trying to get away from the hard copies. I'm trying to go strictly with electronic and keep the paper trail down. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. Great question. Thank you for that. Yeah, and there won't be much of that. It's pretty minimal work to show. Chances are you guys can figure out how to do it in, say, a Word document. But if you don't want to, I'm not going to force you to do that either, because I don't want you to feel like you have to do something a certain way. I'm trying to make this as choose your own adventure as I can. So,
But paperless.
paperless. Less paper. Less paper, not paper. I realized as soon as, like in the 1990s, when whoever that politician was, we're going with paperless society. I'm like, it was like when we're going with CFL bulbs, we're ruling out incandescence. I'm like, think about that for 5 seconds. You're going to take a bulb that's full of mercury, and the country of Australia, the continent country, whatever you want to call it, of Australia, made an edict, and I don't know if they still have that edict, that they were going to do away with incandescent bulbs by like 2010 or something like that. No more incandescent bulbs, only CFL. I was like, did anybody think about what to do with all the broken ones once they start breaking? Because people aren't trained to A, use a fluorescent bulb properly, and B, get rid of it when it breaks. You can't just throw it in the trash. Well, you can if you don't care about the world you live in. Go ahead and throw your CFLs in the trash. They're laden with mercury, right? So I don't want to just go and say, no paper anymore. Like, there are times when paper is helpful, is useful. But I'm trying to limit as much as we can do that whole idea of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It might suck. Maybe by the end of the term we think it sucks, and next term I go back to the way it was. But I wanted to try it. No way to try it without collecting some data. Cool. Back to math. Yay.
Yes.
So grade was what we were in the middle of last time. Tell me everything you remember about grade. 6% grade. I saw one of these on the way to Portland this weekend. It didn't have a number. It just had that picture. I was slow down because I had a truck full of drums, so slow down a little bit. Tell me what you remember.
Grade is slope.
Grade is slope. Christy.
Yes.
Christy. Yes, grade is slope. Boom. Grade is slope. What else do you remember? Rise over run. Beautiful. Hopefully these terms are synonymous with you in your mind. Good. Rise over run. Take the distance risen over the distance run. You'll never see a road like this in America, hopefully. But that's well, actually I lied. See close. We'll see some pictures later. Rise over run. Figure your rise, figure your run. Divide them. That comes out as a decimal. If you change it to a percentage, that's what you usually see on signs. What else do you remember?
Tangent.
Tangent. Oh, that's good. Tell me your name. Jessica, thank you. Tangent. So we looked at one example. I think this was the only example we looked at last time. College Way had I believe it was a 10%, no, 6%, excuse me, 6% grade. And then I asked, what's the angle? And we kind of let that question go for a while, then came back to it. But the grade of, say, a road is the same number as the tangent of that angle. And how do you calculate the tangent? I'm going to calculate in quotes. How do you calculate the tangent? You look it up. Yeah, there are ways to actually physically calculate it, but I've decided to get away from those. And just we use tangent tables. So I Googled one last time. I will Google it again so we can find it. So I'm going to find the same one because it was a nice one last time. I like it. Tangent table. Let's look at some images. I think it was this one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's a good looking one. Let's leave that one up there. View image. Yeah, that's nice. A little bigger maybe. That's decent, I think. You have to scroll a little bit, maybe bring it back a smidge. All right. You guys know how to make stuff bigger and smaller in Firefox? Hold down the control button, either plus or minus. Plus makes it hold down the control button. That's a very, very handleable button. Well, third function button. Hold down control, plus makes it bigger, minus makes it smaller. Just FYI, one of those things. It's also a nice way to capture images. If you have a little tiny image, you can make it bigger, then use the snipping tool and take a picture of it if you need to capture it. But of course, you also run the risk of making it so big that it becomes pixelated. Sorry, this is math class. I should stick with math. But these are little helpful things for college students. So anyway, college weight was 6%. So where's 6% in this table? Can you find it? I think we did find it last time, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think we did. Yeah, we did. Good. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Between 3 and 4?
Good, between 3 degrees and 4 degrees. This is 5.24%. That's almost 7%. So it's somewhere between. So between 3 and 4 is fine. It's conversational. If you need more precision, you can either get a more precise table or you can use technology, but we're not going to need super bits of precision in here. You don't have to worry about that. Just ish. 3.5 degrees, somewhere along that line. Cool? Fair? What's that noise again? Let's keep this handy. Let's go back to here. Let's keep looking. Let's keep looking. So, a tour of Bend. A tour of Bend. Recognize? Just these first few are all streets in Bend. Just wanted to share them with you. You recognize that one? It connects to Mount Washington. It's between Mount Washington and Obi Riley. It's got a funny name. Archie Briggs. That's Archie Briggs. That's my old commute to work. That's my old commute to work. That's the hairpin at my old commute to work. Has anybody driven up Archie Briggs or down Archie Briggs? It's very dangerous in the winter. It can be, anyway. I shouldn't say it is. It can be very dangerous because if you ever go to the Cascade Cycling Classic, which is a stage race here in the summer in Bend, they make the pros do 5 or 6 laps up this on a big, like 20-mile loop. It's a century, and they do like 5 or 6 laps around this. It's pretty insane. Any idea of the grade? Any idea? And just of the hairpin. Just of the hairpin. I want to come back to what's called average grade momentarily. Guesses? If you've never been on the road, this question won't make any sense to you. Amber, 4%, absolutely. Or 4 degrees or 4%? 4%, absolutely 4%. Other guesses? 2%? 2%? 4%? It clocks in at 16.7% right there at the hairpin. If you've anybody ever biked up it? Or walked up it or run up it? Yeah, it's steep right there. You turn that corner and your heart starts beating. The picture belies it. The picture really does belie it. The pictures never do steepness justice. But when you hit that on a bike, you're like, okay, here we go. You drop a gear, you stand up, and you crank through, and then the mailbox is at the top. It goes back to flat again, catch your breath, take a drink of water, keep going. So what's the angle on that one? I don't know. You go back to the tangent table. So remember, it was 16.7%. 16.7%. So where are we going to find that? What column are we looking in for that one? We're looking in the tangent column, and I don't see 16. I see 14.3. I see 19.0. Correct my math mistake. It's percent, so you got to change it back to a decimal. So 16.7 is 0.167. Let's see, 0.14. Right, somewhere in here, about 9.5 degrees, maybe somewhere in there. If you needed more precision, like I said, you can use technology. If anybody needs, I can show you a Google shortcut too, which is pretty slick. Well, I'll show you a break if you want to see that. Cool? Making sense? How did I get these grades? Well, actually, hold that question. I want to take that question. I retract it. We'll ask it later. All right, let's keep this tour of Bend going. Archie Briggs. Well, I showed this one third. This one should have been second. Yeah, whatever. It's all good. Portland's actually there.
Oh, Jennifer.
It's Juniper. That's your driveway. Sorry, stalker Sean. That's Juniper. So Greenwood is like here, and then that's Juniper. I don't know what's this little guy here.
That's my driveway.
Oh, that's your driveway. No, that's your driveway.
That's my driveway.
Oh, okay, so there's not a road. I thought there was a road between. It's just a driveway.
No, but you know what's messed up is my address is Ogden, so people always get lost.
So Ogden is like this. Is that correct?
Like, see where my driveway is right there?
This is your driveway.
Yeah, and now go up the driveway. With your fingers, you go up the
Oh,
driveway.
I see. Like this.
Yeah, so right behind the apartment buildings up there
Yes.
is an empty lot, and behind that is where Ogden ends.
Oh, it's one of those bend things where they start and stop streets.
Yeah.
Yes, that is so funny. My new commute, you'll see part of it in a minute, goes up 9th Street. I come off of Portland, so I come off Portland back there, go up 9th, it makes this slight bend, and then I turn again, and then it's 12th. And and when it's bending, it's Trenton. And if you go far enough south, it's 8th. So if you start on the same road, it goes to 8th, 9th, Trenton to 12th, and then it dead ends in the top Harbor View. And Portland has like 5 names if you keep going east and west.
I just had to say, because it goes from Portland to Neff to
Only.
Right, Olney.
27, it has all of those.
Exactly. I never understood that. I'm from like a city area. You're on 3rd, you're on 3rd. And then it crosses with something else like B or C. Like this Ben just confuses the hell out of me when it comes to roads. But I'm not here to talk about that. I mean, we're talking about how steep it is. You ever ridden your bike up Juniper? Larynx. Yeah, who has? Or walked or ridden your bike or skated down? Please don't do that, by the way. How steep? What's the grade?
9.
9%? Throw me some numbers. 9% sounds good? Cool. I calculated it for you. 17.7. That is 17.7%. That is 17.7%
People
right
try
there.
to drive up or down it in the wintertime.
That's good advice. That's good advice. Tell me your name again.
Brittany.
Brittany. Yeah, Christy Brittany. Thank you, good. Yeah, it's steep. It's way, and again, the picture belies the steepness. It's way steeper than it looks in that picture. This is almost flat. And then this looks like a brick wall when you're coming up to it. 17 point. Let's get the angle if you want. Want to do one more angle? Yeah, I think you're getting the hang of the angles, though. We don't have to keep running back to the angles. 17.7 is almost exactly that guy right there, isn't it? So really damn close to 10 degrees. Which, if you think about trying to make 10 degrees with your hands, it probably doesn't seem that bad. So everybody take your hands, make a 90-degree angle. Okay? Now, it might be hard to go straight to 10 degrees. So let's cut that in half and make 45. So try to cut that in half and make 45. If you have a piece of paper, this is actually easier to do with a piece of paper. You can keep folding it in half and folding it in half. So that's 45. If you cut that in half again, what are you going to get? 22 and a half. And then if you cut that in half again, you get 11 and a quarter, which is still bigger than 10 degrees. And you're looking at your hand and you're like, why is that so steep? Why is that so steep? I don't know, take your bike up and tell me. That's the thing, right? What you see, when you look at like a big Black Diamond ski run on Mount Bachelor, or even better on Hoodoo, because Hoodoo's a little bit steeper, deeper, cheaper. And you're looking down, you're like, oh my God, that's a cliff. And you measure the grade, and it's not much steeper than, say, Juniper Street. You're like, oh my God, why am I so scared? I don't know the answer to that. There's something about the perception of steepness versus the actual steepness of it that throws us for a loop for some reason.
We walk around at 90 degrees all day long.
Maybe that's what it is, any deviation. Maybe it's because, you know what, Amy, that's a good point. Maybe it's because we have to first pass through the 90 and then drop even further. That could be very well what it is. Especially when you're on the top looking down versus the bottom looking up. That could very well be. So, very possible. I want to talk, though, about this briefly. I want to put an idea in your mind for later today. So, Juniper is parallel to whom? What other road? That we've already talked about today. College Way.